I restarted Jiu-Jitsu. Since you're the upper belt, I'll let you go first.
No, I was playing rugby and then had dislocations in both my shoulders. And I had a really, really good physical therapist back in the UK she recommended I try boxing. She was like, go to a boxing club, like hit a bag, just to help with the instability and strengthening my shoulders.
Yeah.
And then I went to a boxing club, and I had an idea that I wanted to do some kind of martial art.
So she told you to stop
Well, she said I couldn't play rugby again. And I think part of that was mental, especially because I dislocated this one 3 times and this one time. And it was like, I was thinking about it before every game.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, holy shit, is my shoulder going to dislocate? And I had just come back from Brecon, the private school that I was playing rugby at. I had dropped out of there and come back to
private school. Nice.
Yeah, well, I got a scholarship to play rugby there, and then I couldn't. So I was like, fuck, this is the only reason I was here. So
you left one intense sport to go to
well,
another.
She told me to do it. She was like, go hit pads and hit a bag.
Okay.
Because the instability, the randomness, that should help with your shoulders heating.
Okay, not necessarily the competing aspect.
Right.
Because that's where you get.
And then 6 months into being at this boxing gym, I love that gym still to this day. Some of my favorite people I've ever met there. 6 months into there, I was like, I want to fight. I want to compete. But I wouldn't say I was a really good boxer. I was pretty average amateur boxer. It wasn't, I loved it, but it wasn't I didn't know at that time, but I hadn't found my sport, I don't think. But I was all in on it. I was skipping class at college to go.
Oh, you were all in.
Yeah.
And skipping classes indicated you were
all into boxing. I would go at lunch, walk there during the day because there's no bus there. We'll walk there to go train. And then boxing. Then I had a rough boxing. Sorry, this is the long version. I guess that's the point of this, though.
Yeah.
If I'm taking too long, at any point.
No, keep going with your story.
So I was boxing. I had kind of a rough boxing match in front of the home crowd.
You lost.
Where I lost. Yeah, I got finished. Technically TKO'd in the last 20 seconds.
Oof.
And it was the only one my dad had come to see at that point because he'd been away. And he came to see it. It was at the Christmas show. So it was in front of everyone I knew. But I took an opponent switch on the last 24 hours. It's another story. Anyway, young me, 17-year-old me was absolutely devastated. And I was like, fuck, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. But then I was like.
Hurt your ego.
Yeah, 100%. A huge ego death. You know ego death? It's usually when you take psychedelics, you have an ego death.
Never heard of it.
But it's the version of yourself that you think you are is completely shattered.
Okay.
Which is a good thing as a young man.
Yeah.
Now I look back at it as a good thing. But I was absolutely devastated. But I started kickboxing as a result. A different academy. Still boxing at that time, but I started kickboxing with crazy Chris K. Shout out Chris.
No shout out.
Oh, okay.
I'm kidding.
Love that guy. I started kickboxing and doing some MMA with him. And there was jiu-jitsu at that gym too. So I started dabbling. And then I did strike and submit, a couple of those. First one of those I hadn't done much grappling, but I did one of those and got guillotined.
Guillotine.
Pretty quickly. And I was like, holy shit, this grappling stuff is really, really cool. Yeah. So that was the first one. And then I started really emphasizing the grappling. The Combat Academy in Hereford they split now, but back then it's run by the first black belt under Bradley O'Steamer in the UK. Really cool guy. Dewey Coles. And they had some really, really high level jiu-jitsu there. So I learned a lot there in the year I was training jiu-jitsu. So that's when I started jiu-jitsu. So it wasn't really
Damn, you can talk.
Sorry, dude. That's good to do as well. Sorry.
You're quite the chatter.
Am I doing too much?
No, you're good.
I thought this was the point.
No, this is the point. I'm just fucking.
But yeah, it wasn't really I'm gonna what this jiu-jitsu stuff, I'm gonna seek that out. It was more I was kickboxing in the same place, went to jiu-jitsu. I'll tell so one of the first people I rolled with, I can't remember her fucking name now.
No cussing.
Sorry, I can't remember her name. Her mom and dad trained jiu-jitsu. I've trained with both of them. Baz is her dad. But at the time she was like 15. And
I don't remember this story.
Yeah, I think a blue belt or maybe still a junior jiu-jitsu belt. But I rolled with her and I remember thinking, because I was an athlete at that time, I was like, oh, like I'll take it easy. I don't want to be a spaz. Like I don't want to hurt her. And then she submitted me like 5 or 6 times. I wish I could remember her name, but
you got beat up by a girl.
Yeah, like a young girl. And another ego death. That's all of martial arts, ego death, over and over again. But yeah, and then I was like, wow, this is really cool. So, and it was the perfect physical thing that I'd been looking for, that I'd enjoyed since I was a young teenager, and then also like intellectually super stimulating. So jiu-jitsu just stuck. And I've always done striking too, but jiu-jitsu is my main focus, or grappling, I guess.
Yeah.
Just jiu-jitsu.
Nice.
All right, your turn. Sorry.
Well, me, the question is, why did I start jiu-jitsu?
How was it? Why or
I'm the one that came up with the question, and then
I don't remember.
Why did I start jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, why?
So I'm gonna take just as long. He took like 7 minutes to explain that. I'm gonna take
7
just
minutes?
as long. Yeah, it was 7 minutes.
Holy
I'm gonna take just as long to give you my backstory. Because
it was more like 5 because it was like 2 minutes.
Whatever. It's detrimental to the whole of my journey in martial arts. So I was going through, I wouldn't say a rough childhood. I would say rough based on my own experience. And I moved high school, I think sophomore year, and I went to go live with my aunt. I was going through it mentally. At the time, I didn't know what the word was, but I was kind of sort of depressed and dealing with like a lot of anxiety. I got tired of feeling like that, so eventually, I think it was like 5 months into this new school. This wrestler, can't remember her name, but this pretty wrestler did a seminar for the female wrestling team, or I think it was a seminar for females in general, because I don't know why I would have been at a wrestling seminar, but I think she did it for females in general, so I attended, and that's the day I fell in love with the idea of wrestling, and just being in a sport that challenged me mentally and put me out of my comfort zone. And that's when all hell broke loose. I know I was struggling with mental health, and trying to tie my parents in didn't work in the past. So I decided to take things into my own hand. Got into wrestling and I really enjoyed it, even though I would still get like raging panic attacks at tournaments because I had like performance anxiety. Didn't know what that was at the time, but I would get like raging panic attacks before matches. But I still wanted to push myself out of that uncomfortable thing I was experiencing. Had my experience on the wrestling team. Wanted to go to college for it, but I was going back and forth about college. I didn't have the funds to go to college. Initially, I was going to enlist in the Navy, but then on a whim, I got accepted to a school upstate New York and decided to just go because I felt so trapped in New York and I just wanted to get away from my situation. Didn't know how I was going to pay for college, but ended up just going to college. I did want to wrestle in college, but the college that I applied to was the only college I applied to, and they did not have a female wrestling team. I did take...
Brockport doesn't have a female wrestling team? Which is crazy because they have a pretty good male team.
They have a really good male wrestling team.
I've wrestled with a couple of the Brockport guys out there. Yeah.
So I took the class with the wrestling team at Brockport, and it was so nice. However, before the wrestling class, I did try judo, and I loved it at the time. I made it all the way to a yellow belt, which is not much. It's like the next belt after white.
You outranked me in judo.
But I did try judo. However, I started ROTC at the time, and just those throws and stuff, because we were doing so many throws, it was just so taxing on the body. And the girl that I was friends with at the time, she brought up Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, didn't know what the heck that was, but she was like rambling on and on about it. I was like, okay, cool, whatever. And then I signed up for the 2 wrestling classes, both my last semester, I think, or junior year, I can't remember. And it was such an exhilarating feeling. It was my safe place, even though it was like at 9 a.m. I'm not a morning person. But I really, really enjoyed that class. And it just took me back to, I don't know, how I dealt with my mental health initially and what worked for me. And it also made me feel super confident. Let me tell you, I was not a confident person in high school and college. When I started taking like the wrestling classes, and which led to me working out, the confidence skyrocket, which I can't, what was it? Okay, so I did the wrestling class. That was that. Ended up commissioning. Didn't really know anything about jiu-jitsu, to be honest. Commissioned, did my bullet time, and then I was at my first duty station. Whenever Martin Week came around.
Martin Week being a combatives competition at where we are.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the timeline. I can't remember how I got set up at the fight house at Fort Stewart, but I think it was Martin Week.
So you started training at the fight house before you went to Poland?
Before, yeah. This is when I first got the first Martin Week. I think they were looking for teams, and I was like, oh, combatives. This seems interesting but cool. I started training with the guys in my unit, and I think that led to the fight house, which I think that's where I got introduced. No, I'm lying. I lied. When I first got to Savannah, I was like, okay, I need a sport that resembles wrestling. I was trying to look for wrestling clubs, but there's not many adult wrestling out there. So I was like, damn, like I really miss wrestling and having a sport to challenge me mentally. So I started doing some research, and I came across jiu-jitsu, and that's when I signed up for a gym not too far from my house in Savannah. And that's where I was introduced to jiu-jitsu. It was very difficult transitioning from like wrestling habits to jiu-jitsu. And the transition wasn't that seamless, but I eventually fell in love with it, and it gave me the same feeling that wrestling did. And then we got into Martin Week and all that, and now we're here. Yeah, I hope that
you've kind of been through phases. I feel like you've stopped and restarted a couple of times. So like you had your Surge, which is the gym she was just talking about, and then you went to Poland.
Exactly.
And you guys trained in Poland a little bit. Mm-hmm. And then you came back and you had like the phase with me and Duke.
Yeah, this past year was the year that I've been consistent. However, when I first started, it was so inconsistent because as a brand new lieutenant in the Army, it was just chaos. I was staying at work so late. I wanted to have a social life. However, I was so exhausted. So I was going like once in a blue moon, but not consistently enough to pick up and retain the skills I was learning. It's not until this past year I actually got consistent because I knew I was getting out the military and they no longer required.
And you had fantastic coaches.
And I had really, really good coaches. Sam and Duke.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, it wasn't until this year I started being consistent and it actually started clicking. Definitely thought about quitting a few times because like you said, you get your ego hurt a lot in jiu-jitsu and sports in general, especially more like combat sports.
What made you, every time, sorry to interrupt you.
No, you're good.
Every time you thought about quitting, what made you not quit?
I would say when I first started, I struggled with a lot mentally, and every day was a work in progress for me. Sports and fitness in general was that outlet for me to express myself. I wasn't really much of a talker, and I didn't really have anybody to talk to. So sports and then jiu-jitsu became that outlet for me to I don't know. I don't want to say relieve myself.
Release some
pent up frustration, because I know I don't talk to anyone, and this is my version of healthy. Or I hit the mic. My version of a healthy way in coping with what I was going on with mentally. When I went to Poland, that was a terrible experience, because I did stop for a while, and I was like, okay, I have way too much going on. I switched positions, and it was just like chaos 24/7. A situation happened in Poland with a coworker, and I thought I knew how I would react in a situation. In a situation.
You got it. You don't have to talk about that if you don't want to. Hey, you're okay.
I'm fine. I'm sorry.
Hey, don't apologize. You're okay.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Hey, I love you. You're okay.
I don't know. A situation happened. I froze mentally, even though I feel like I'm strong enough to defend myself. I don't know. I just froze. Okay, I don't want to talk about it.
It's okay.
Okay, you can say something. I just need to gather myself for a bit.
You're fine. You're okay. You're safe.
I said you talk.
Oh, sorry. What are we talking about? What should I talk about? Let me lubricate my vocal cords. I'm such a faggot in wine, dude.
Okay.
I guess so. My question to you, which I interrupted your flow, but you didn't really answer it. But you continue.
I'm so sorry.
No, don't apologize. It's okay.
Shut up.
I asked you why you didn't quit during the times that you felt like you wanted to. And the reason I asked that is because I feel like most people, it's very easy. This is like a very cliche thing, but it's easy to come up with reasons to not do something. And it's usually more difficult for people to find reasons to continue to do something.
I feel like I answered it.
You did. You
I answered it. I mean, for the reason that I gave for the first half of it still applies to the second, but for the second half of it, it's the fact that when you train something religiously, it becomes second nature?
Habit,
a habit, or like a reflex or whatever. And I continued because I don't want any situation to happen, because I am a woman, and sadly,
so
sucks.
You were motivated by the need to protect yourself.
Yes, and to not freeze. Because if you do something repeatedly, like you create that habit that it just becomes a
second nature, reflex, muscle memory.
Yeah, exactly.
Agreed.
And the fact that it makes me feel confident. Might not be the best looking person, but as long as I am able to,
you are the best looking person.
Defend myself, and I feel strong, and I can take on a guy his size. I don't know. It just makes me feel confident. It makes me carry myself, I don't know, in a confident way, which for me, makes me feel good looking or whatever.
It's honest confidence, right?
Yeah.
It's confidence earned through challenge, or overcoming things, and it's overcoming it in a training room, which is hopefully a safe environment, so that it kind of gives you the room to make mistakes and defeat certain things, which then gives you confidence when you step out into the outside world.
Plus,
which is good for same application to men too. Obviously, like the article I wrote about on the Gladiator website about why I think females should train martial arts. It stands even more so for females, that kind of confidence that you can. No, you don't even necessarily need to be able to defeat any man you come across, right? Like, but I think most females that you meet or loved ones females in your life have some kind of experience with men that they can draw on that's uncomfortable for them, right? That they feel that they may have been more prepared had they had kind of like some martial arts experience to back them up. And that's on us as men to fix our masculine culture, so that we don't put women in that situation, but also it's only beneficial if women equip themselves to be able to handle those kinds of situations. So you don't need to like defeat a man. You don't need to like train so that you're fucking like, train that you don't need to be like Lara Croft, right? Do you even know who Lara Croft is? Tomb Raider?
No.
I don't know. I was trying to think of a badass female example. Eowyn from Lord of the Rings. I am no man. Kills the Witch King. Okay, sorry. But being able to like fight someone enough that you can disengage with them or get to a weapon, a tool to be able to put them down, or just survive long enough that you can call for help or someone else can call for help. So
period, queen.
Yeah. So yeah, do you want me to elaborate on anything else?
No, it's
where are we at? You took longer than me.
No, you were
You said that.